मिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात देश तारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि श्री गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। जगत गुरु श्री प्रभुपाद की। हरे कृष्णा। तो आज वैशाख शुक्ल
Hare Krishna. So today is Vaishakh Shukla Trayodashi, and today also there is a great auspicious day. So there is a glory behind today as well. Today, in the world of ISKCON, or in the world of the Vaishnavas, a great devotee or a stalwart devotee of the Lord, whose name was or is Jayanand Prabhu. So, today is his disappearance day. On today's date, a great devotee of the Lord, a stalwart devotee, left this material world and went to the eternal abode of the Lord. So today is his disappearance day. So let's remember him and his life. So he used to reside in Ohio in United States. And here in our Katha also quite a few devotees who belong to Ohio and are listening to this Katha. So Jayanand Prabhu used to reside in Ohio, United States. And at that time his name was Jim Core. So he was born in America. So he had an American name. Although he was born in the United States and was raised in the American society, but it is said,
पलटे नहीं जो जुग जाय अनंत, ऊंच नीच कुल अवतरिए आखिर संत को संत। हमारे भारत के संत बहुत बड़ी बात कर गए।
Our great sages and scholars have said a great thing in this verse. They say that if somebody has the seed of devotional service, then no matter how much time elapses, but it will never be destroyed. And even if he dies, and after death, if he gets birth in a lower society, or even in other civilization or society as well,
लेकिन आखिर संत को संत,
but ultimately he will remain a saint.
तो जिम कौर
So Jim Kaur
दयानंद प्रभु के नाम से
or Janand Prabhu,
अमेरिका में ओहायो स्टेट में उनका जन्म हुआ,
he was born in Ohio,
से ही उनके
but
हृदय में
since birth
दया,
he had mercy, faith, all the qualities
उनकी जीवनी में
or all the great qualities. It is mentioned that although he was not a devotee, but he was a child, and he saw in his streets there was a dog,
और उनके शरीर में अनेकों कीड़े पड़ गए हैं,
and this dog was infested with
कुत्ते के
insects or worms,
करके वो
and he
और
removed all these
परिचय दिया,
insects from the body of this dog and gave an indication of his benevolence. So in Ohio University, he studied mechanical engineering
फिर मास्टर्स बन गए,
and studied
देखा कि
for masters as well.
देखते हैं
But he saw, and even we see even today in Ohio,
होता है,
that the weather is not very suitable. It's very cold. So due to this weather or drastic weather, Janand Prabhu
फ्रांसिस्को चले गए,
shifted to San Francisco
फ्रांसिस्को में रहने लगे,
and started residing there.
अब क्योंकि वो मैकेनिकल
And
इंजीनियर
as he was a mechanical engineer,
क्योंकि वो मैकेनिकल इंजीनियर हो चुके थे, इसलिए
therefore
बड़ी जॉब मिल सकती थी,
he could have got a great job. He could have
और बहुत पैसे,
applied in a great organization and earn or accumulate wealth. But and in those times, engineers were in high demand. It was not like today.
जॉब पर रख ले कब छोड़ दे, लेकिन इन्होंने
So he
बड़ी जॉब करना पसंद नहीं किया,
was not satisfied or interested in
पर भी
working for a corporate or a great organization. He started
टैक्सी चलाने लगे और उससे जो भी पैसा मिलता
driving a taxi. So he became a taxi driver or a cab driver. And with that money, he started sustaining himself, although he was an engineer. So one time, Jim was asked that you're an engineer. You could have worked in a great organization. You could have accumulated wealth. So Jim just replied,
क्लास में जीना पसंद नहीं करता हूँ,
I don't like to live in an upper class. I prefer to be in small,
के लोगों के साथ
lower class,
मिलना,
to meet corporate people. I don't really enjoy doing that.
सिंपल लिविंग,
So this simple life is far better for me or better suitable for me.
बीत रहा था,
So in this way, he was living, and this is the time of 1967 when Srila Prabhupada has already reached the States and had
टॉमकिंस
became very famous. So in the
और अनेकों हिप्पी उनके पास आते थे और
Times Square Park, where he used to chant, the hippies used to gather there, and they all started getting
अनेकों न्यूज़पेपर में, मीडिया में न्यूज़
affected by the chanting, and he was getting very popular because the media was
सैन फ्रांसिस्को में जिम को एक न्यूज़
so the media was kicking his pictures and putting stories on him. So Jim also found this article newspaper in the newspaper in San Francisco, and he saw that all these hippies are becoming happy. So although he already had faith, and when he read this, he took a flight and came to New York from San Francisco, where Srila Prabhupada was residing. It is said that Jim,
प्रभुपाद जी से मिले,
when met Srila Prabhupada at the first time. So he took a vow that in the future, if I have to make a spiritual master, I will make him my spiritual master. And he started spending more and more time with Srila Prabhupada. So already Srila Prabhupada had quite many people, but there was a great difference between these. So all these hippies that used to come to Srila Prabhupada, they used to be intoxicated, never take a bath, long hair, and they had just one motivation, and that was to have the sweet meat balls, the sweet that Srila Prabhupada used to prepare. That for that they used to come. But Jim or Anand Prabhu, when he used to come to Srila Prabhupada, he used to present himself in a decent manner. And when Prabhupada ji used to preach, then all these hippies used to bring sleeping bags so that they can sleep. And when we will have time, it will be time to eat, then we will wake up. So all of these used to sleep, but Jim or Janan Prabhu used to listen with inquisitiveness and used to listen to the preaching. And although he was understanding something or not understanding everything, but yet he had so much faith and he was listening carefully. So Jim developed so much faith that he started giving all his money that he used to earn, he used to offer it to Srila Prabhupada. Although he was a cab driver, not earning much. And those times, even Srila Prabhupada was struggling for preaching. So he wrote Srila Bhagavad Gita, but to print it in the states, Jayanand Prabhu or Jim gave a very big donation. And after some time, when Srila Prabhupada wanted to publish Nectar of Devotion, even at that time, a great part of money was given by him.
जिम का वहां पर जयानंद प्रभु नहीं लिखा क्योंकि उस समय दीक्षा नहीं हुई थी.
Srila Prabhupada ji, at the time when he wrote Nectar of Devotion, he wrote the name of Jim because he was not initiated at that time, that he has contributed a lot to publish this book. And by taking the shelter of Srila Prabhupada, serving, he got piety. And one day, the day arrived that he got initiated by Srila Prabhupada and he became or transformed into LalGovindDas. So Srila Prabhupada used to say or address him as Jayanand Brahmachari. And then he used to take him for preaching. So this is his appearance. So he used to stay in a decent manner with Srila Prabhupada. And wherever Srila Prabhupada used to go for preaching, so he used to be the cab driver, and evenings he used to come in the programs. So in this manner, he had contributed a lot. And now that he was initiated, then Srila Prabhupada said, now you do one thing, you should not be a cab driver now you should preaching, and you are experienced in San Francisco, so we will make a temple there and I will make you the temple president there. So Jayanand Prabhu became the temple president of ISKCON San Francisco. So he got the position, a designation, but seeing him, nobody had thought that he could be a president of a temple.
स्त्री टाइट होते हैं, कपड़े भी उनके जेन्युइन
Because they have ironclad clothes, and they have to maintain themselves well because they have to deal with people. But he used to live a life of a simpleton. His life was very, very simple, and he used to live in very little resources. So slowly he started maintaining the temple and the deities. So one day, Srila Prabhupada ji called Jayanand Prabhu and said, "You you used to be a cab driver, but with education you are a mechanical engineer. So I have this thought that we should have a Rath Yatra in America. And you are a mechanical engineer, so why don't you do one thing? Why don't you make a chariot for Jagannath ji? Because I don't have anyone. So why don't you design and create a chariot and do some research and make it?" So, so all these American devotees are not like us Indians. They had complete shelter and they were completely surrendered to the Lord. The instruction of the spiritual master was their ultimate goal of life. So when Srila Prabhupada said that you have to make a chariot, so he started planning and he started studying in detail what is a chariot, how it's created. He went to South India, got some notes from there, and he made a plan. And now to make this chariot, he needs equipments, and they don't have sufficient funds. So he was supposed to do it, accomplish it in very less money. So he used to take a few devotees, and they used to roam from one shop to another. Now you get everything in Lowe's and Home Depot, but it was not like so previously. So he used to roam and they used to pick that this is suitable. So he said that, but the people used to say that we will buy. So why don't you buy? So he'll say that I will buy it later. So he just shortlisted by roaming, and whatever was suitable, he used to make a note of it. So all these devotees were distressed that whatever is suitable, why don't you buy it? Why are you just making notes? So after 4 or 5 days, he wrote everything and then he took a truck and got everything that he has noted down and he bought everything. And when he got everything, then Jayanand Prabhu said, now, had we brought one thing, we would have to hire a truck for 10 times. So in this one time, we have gathered everything that we needed. So his philosophy was that whatever means we have is Lord's opulence, and the Lord's wealth should not be wasted by any means. So he used to spend each and every penny with being mindful. So Srila Prabhupada used to monitor the progress, how it's going. So when one when a person makes for the first time, then it is difficult. Otherwise, the people who imitate or copy, then that is very easy. Because others will just emulate them. So, but you should remember that original is original and a copy is a copy.
So
Jayanand Prabhu was making this chariot for the first time, so he was working very, very hard. He did so much research. Then he used to do a trial and error. So first chariot that he made, the wheel of chariot were of wood like Jagannath Puri. So these wheels could not sustain the weight of the chariot. So, and it broke off when they tried to start. So then he made the wheel of metal and the spokes. He put that are similar to the bicycle. And finally, Srila Prabhupada said that the time is approaching for Rath Yatra. We have to do Rath Yatra. So on behest of Srila Prabhupada, he has created the chariot. But he was anxious that I have made it for the first time. I don't know what will happen. So the Rath Yatra was organized and it moved well for a while, but the weight of the whole chariot and this wheel was of metal and the spokes had all the weight and they got so they turned and the tire instead of remaining round it became a rectangle and it started roaming. So Srila Prabhupada said that Jagannath ji is performing his pastime, a proclivity. He wants to go in a dancing manner. And somehow this first Rath Yatra was concluded. And what were the weak points? He noted them down. And now, with mindful thought, so he is Jayanand Swami, he found this. And he utilized all his life to create the chariots that we will do more planning and we will make these chariots. Although he was the temple president of San Francisco temple, yet if somebody would ask that where is the president, then everybody will used to say that he will be near the chariot. So, because Srila Prabhupada said that you have to make a chariot for San Francisco, Los Angeles, and he was supposed to make the chariots for every temple. So he always used to be near a chariot, making them, mending them. So one day, from other state, a devotee said to another, "You want to see a pure devotee of the Lord?" He said that, "Yeah, I want to see." So he said that I will take you to San Francisco and I will show you a exalted devotee. So he thought that this will be some bearded person, a genuine sage or saint who would recite verses or venerate the Lord. So he was contemplating and he went. And when they reached the San Francisco temple, so he said that where is that exalted devotee of the Lord? So they went near the chariot. So he said that the pure devotee is under the chariot. He was fixing the tire. So his two legs were out. So he said that Jayanand Prabhu. So he came out and he said this, he is the pure devotee of the Lord. And he said that with a regret, is this how a pure devotee appears? Then he reminded him of Srila Prabhupada that who is a pure devotee of the Lord? A pure devotee is not the one who just keeps mute and sits in a room, but it means active devotional service, who is active day and night in service of the Lord. Whatever mood and behavior you have, and according to that, to perform devotional service and be active, that is the sign of a pure devotee of the Lord. And second, a pure devotee of the Lord cannot be judged by his appearance or work. But Jayanand Prabhu is a pure devotee, and there is no doubt in that. You will always see him making chariots. Although he was a celibate, but to make this chariot, he used to wear these kinds of clothes. He was he was wearing old clothes. Everybody was saying that you should wear new clothes. So somebody forcefully gave him two dresses so that he can wear. And he was very much interested in prasadam because the Lord he was serving, that is Lord Jagannath Ji, so Lord Jagannath Ji himself enjoys the bhoga and he is a servant of Jagannath. There's Jagannath. So he also had this interest in prasadam and he used to work so hard, so he used to eat prasadam as well. So he had this philosophy that if a devotee was not well and I will not eat or I will fast, then Janan Prabhu used to say that, see, if you're not well, you should eat twice what is required so that you can have more immunity and energy and the disease is removed. So once he was supposed to go to a prison to preach and he accompanied Tamal Krishna Maharaj. So they were working and they went there and they started to go towards the prison. Janan Prabhu said, I'm hungry. I haven't eaten anything today. He said, he said that we have made sweets for the prisoners. So it's in the. So Tamal Krishna Maharaj said that I am also hungry, so let's get something. And that day there was sweet laddus in prasad. So they ate it, said that this is good, so let's give it. So by praising, by the time they reach the prison house, they have eaten all the laddus or sweet balls. They said, what are we supposed to do? What will we offer to the prison? So they were anxious, and by the time they reached the prison, the chicken. So they said that no outside food is allowed. So they were relieved that whatever was there is not there anymore. So this is the pastime of the stalwart devotee of the Lord. So let me share a greatest pastime of him, which I haven't shared yet. You will shock to know. So once he was sent to by Srila Prabhupada to make a chariot, and he was making this chariot, and there were so many activities in creating a chariot, and he had utilized all his life to make chariots, and he's not only have to make chariot, but then he has to take permission, especially in a country like United States. We are distressed about the permission. So here it is very difficult to get permission and to make chariot and then to take a permission to do that. And during the Rath Yatra to convince the police. So this is Jahanand Prabhu. During Rath Yatra, he is convincing the policeman because it's a great job. Rath Yatra procession is not easy. It's not a small work. There is the sacrifice of so many people. So he dedicated his whole life to make Rath Yatra successful in United States. He looked after everything, and Srila Prabhupada has given all this responsibility to him. So let me share his glory. So he was making a chariot, and he used to work all alone. So he was. So then there was a child who came in Bermudas, and he was aware of that how to involve others. So he told this boy, come here. He said, I'll just hold this nail and you hit it. So the boy hit it.
खिल्ली मारा, उसमें कोई
So
बहुत बड़ा
once he did it,
नहीं था।
it was not a great rocket science.
तुम
He
तो बहुत
praised
खिल्ली
him
मारते हो यार,
that you're a great,
क्या क्या
very good at
क्या
this job.
हैमर का प्रहार किया। लड़का सोच
How
रहा
you've
है
used
बहुत
this
सिंपल
hammer.
बात हुई,
So
कैसे
the
किया
boy was
उसने पता
astonished
है?
at what was so
इंस्ट्रक्शन
simple.
था, अच्छा चलो चलो मैं यहाँ खिल्ली
And
मारता
he
हूँ, तुम
said it.
मारो। उसने मारा, वाह कितना अच्छा मारते हो यार,
And he
तुमने
told
कहीं
him
कहीं
that now
नहीं
I'll
लगाया,
keep the
कहीं
nail
नहीं
here,
लगाया।
so you hammer it here.
और तीसरी
So,
खिल्ली, चौथी, तो लड़का खुश हो गया, बोले
so
वाह
the boy
दो
was
तीन खिल्ली मारने से इतनी प्रशंसा।
overwhelmed with joy that he was
तो
being
जानते हैं
praised so
उन्होंने
much
क्या
for
कहा,
such a
मेरे
simple
साथ
task.
चलोगे मंदिर
So
में,
Janan
मुझे
Prabhu
बहुत
said that,
मजा है, मुझे बहुत बड़ी
will
सेवा
you
करवाओ।
accompany me? I have a great service. Will you accompany
उस
me?
लड़के
So
को
he said yes.
मंदिर में
So
ले
this
गया,
boy,
अंदर
he was
दर्शन
brought to
करवाए,
the temple,
प्रसाद खिलाए,
gave him
खाना
audience with the
खवाया,
Lord,
सब
gave
कुछ किया।
prasadam, and
वो
made him
लड़का
make a chair.
आगे चलकर
And
ब्रह्मचारी बन गया,
in
और
the
आगे
future,
चलकर सन्यासी
this
बन गया,
boy
आगे
became a
चलकर
brahmachari and
उपदेश
then
सुन के
a
बहुत बड़े गुरु बन
celibate.
गए। और
And he
जिसका
became a
10,000
greatest
शिष्यधारी श्री
isko.
जयपता का स्वामी महाराज है। जयपता का स्वामी महाराज को जयपता
And
का स्वामी बनाया
the,
श्री जयानंद प्रभु ने।
that is no other than Jai Patak, His Holiness Jai Pataka Goswami Maharaj.
लेकिन
So he himself remained
ये कार्य
Prabhu, but he had made
सो ऐसे
Jai Pataka, His Holiness Jai Pataka Goswami Maharaj what he is today.
बनाने में, रथ यात्रा
And he
निकाल
dedicated his whole life
में बहुत बड़ी क्रांति लाए।
to create
जब
the
इनके
chariots
मृत्यु
and to make Rath Yatra
सुना,
successfully. And when Srila Prabhupada ji heard
शिवाजी महाराज
about his death, as Shivaji Maharaj heard,
कहा गढ़ आला पर सिंह गेला है। वैसे शिल प्रभुपाद जी के मन में हुआ कि
Srila Prabhupada
अमेरिका
ji
में
had
रथ
this
यात्रा
thought
प्रारंभ हो गई,
that now the
अमेरिका में एक बहुत
Rath Yatra has started
बड़ी
in
क्रांति आ गई,
America and it's a great revolution,
जयानंद चला गया।
but I have lost my Jayanand in the
ऐलान
process.
किया
At
कि
that
आज
time,
के बाद
Srila Prabhupada announced
इस्कॉन
that
में, चाहे
in
अमेरिका हो,
ISKCON,
इंडिया हो या विश्व में,
where
आज के बाद
wherever
कोई भी रथ यात्रा
throughout
होगी
the
तो
whole
उस रथ यात्रा
world,
में जयानंद प्रभु की फोटो
wherever
अवश्य रहेगी।
there is a Rath Yatra,
इसलिए
there will be a
हो गया
picture of Jayanand
कि
Prabhu.
इस्कॉन में जहां कहीं
Therefore,
भी रथ यात्रा होगी,
wherever there is a Rath
उस रथ
Yatra,
यात्रा में
in
जयानंद
that Rath Yatra, there
जयानंद
is a
प्रभु का
picture
फोटो अवश्य
of
रहेगा।
Jayanand Prabhu
तो
for
ऐसे
sure.
श्री जयानंद प्रभु परम शुद्ध भक्त,
So
परम
such
वैष्णव
pure
आज
devotee of the Lord, and today is his disappearance day.
ऐसे जयानंद प्रभु का स्मरण करते हुए,
So let's remember him and
सेवा की भीख मांगते
let's
हुए
seek
जैसे
blessings at his lotus feet
पद चिन्हों
as
पर चले,
you followed or imitated the Srila Prabhupada and served
ऐसी हम थोड़ी भी
him.
सेवा कर सके,
Similarly, if we
हमारा
could
जीवन ऐसे शुद्ध भक्त
serve the
समर्पित कर सके,
spiritual master within iota of that
ऐसे श्री जयानंद प्रभु के चरणों में आशीर्वाद की कामना करते हुए,
iota of your moon.
उनका
So
तिरुभाव
we just seek your blessings for the same.
उनका
So
स्मरण करते हुए
let's
प्रणाम सब एक साथ
remember him and let's bow down.
वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधुभ्येवश पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। सो ऐसे जयानंद प्रभु का स्मरण करते हुए
So
आइए
remembering such Jayanand Prabhu, let's do congregational chanting and then we will proceed to the Bhagavatam Katha.
राधे मेरी ओ जय जय माखन चोर, जय जय माखन चोर। श्री कृष्णचंद्र भगवान की, श्री नरसिंह देव भगवान की, जगत गुरु शिल प्रभुपाद की। आ गए शिव जी। उपस्थित भगवत कथा अनुरागी
Hare Krishna. I welcome all the loving devotees of Srimad Bhagavatam,
इस सभा को
the devotees I also extend my warm welcome and gratitude all the mellowful senior devotees of Vaishnavas and all of you who have gathered through the medium of Facebook, YouTube, etc., from all the parts of the world, all the listeners, devotees, and with a loving heart, the organizer of this beautiful Katha, the residents of Delhi, the Bharadwaj family, their pious ancestors,
मान सिंह
Mansingh ji, Parmali Devi, Lakshmi Narayan ji, Devi. So, after taking their blessings, these three brothers have organized this beautiful Bhagavatam Katha, and with great faith are listening Ramvati Mataji, Rajesh Bharadwaj ji, Suman ji, Sanjay ji, Saroj ji, Naresh ji, Seema ji, and all the kids. I welcome you all on the 6th day of Srimad Bhagavatam once more, and please accept our humble obeisances at your lotus feet. Radhe Shyam.
उग्रो अपि अनुग्र एवायम स्वभक्तानाम नृकेसरी केसरीव स्वपोतानाम अन्येषाम उग्र विग्रह. श्रीपाद श्रीधर स्वामी
Shripad Sridhar Goswami was a devotee of Lord Narsimha Dev, and he is the presiding deity for Shripad Sridhar Goswami. Therefore, this incarnation of the Lord had a deep interest in this pastime of the Lord, and special interpretation by him. In the beginning of his commentary, Shripad Sridhar Goswami writes this verse in Bhavarth Deepika.
श्रीपाद श्रीधर स्वामी कहते हैं कि
He says,
अनुग्र एवायम. वैसे भगवान नरसिंहदेव उग्र स्वरूप में होते हैं.
Although Lord Narsimha Dev is in his ferocious form, and usually it is referred to as the incarnation of the Lord's anger, but Sridhar Goswami writes,
फिर भी उग्र नहीं है.
although he is ferocious, but still he is not ferocious. So how are we going to understand this?
मतलब ये आप देखिए, श्लोक देखिए.
So if you see this verse, Lord Narsimha Dev is ferocious,
लेकिन उग्र नहीं है.
but still he is not ferocious at the same time. So how are we going to understand this? So he gives an example, and by example we can understand this.
उग्र नहीं भी कैसे? भगवान
How?
उग्र है भी उग्र नहीं भी कैसे? तो एवायम
He is ferocious yet not ferocious at all. So in the second line he writes, Kesari. Kesari means the lion.
केसरी माने सिंह. सिंह क्या करता है?
So what does a lion do?
स्वपोतानाम. वो सिंह अपने पुत्र के लिए, अपने बालक,
That lion, for his own children, he is not ferocious.
जब सिंह को देखता है तो डर जाता है.
So when a deer sees a lion, he gets scared. But the cub of the lion, does he get scared? He loves
तो केसरी
his father.
केसरी माने सिंह की तरह,
So, like a lion,
जो सिंह के अपने बच्चे
Swapotana,
हैं,
so the own
सिंह का
kids
अपना
or
बेटा है, वो अपने लोगों में,
cubs of the
इसलिए
lion,
वो सिंह अनुग्र है।
for him, for them, he is not ferocious or violent,
सिंह का बेटा नहीं है,
but who is not the
बराबर
son
है,
of
उसके लिए
the law of the lion,
खूंखार
for
है,
them he is
भयंकर है।
dangerous, violent,
उग्रो
cruel.
अपि अनुग्र एवायम स्वभक्ता नाम नृ केसरी। जैसे सिंह अपने बच्चे के
So,
लिए,
as a lion is
ऐसे
not
भगवान
ferocious
नरसिंह देव
for his
अपने
cubs,
भक्त के लिए
similarly, Lord Narsimha Dev is
शांत है,
not ferocious
माने
but grave
वात्सल्य रूप में है।
for his devotees. He is in the
जैसे
form
सिंह के लिए
of
अन्य पशु
affection for
अन्य
his
पशुओं में
devotees.
सिंह उग्र
And
दिखाई देता है,
as for other animals, lion appears to be violent or cruel.
अन्य श्याम उग्र विग्रह, भगवान नरसिंह देव उग्र
So
है,
Lord Narsimha Dev is
अन्य श्याम
ferocious,
अन्य लोगों
but
के लिए,
Anyasham means for other
भजन
people.
करने वालों के लिए तो
So,
सिंह
but
के
the
बाल की
one
तरह वात्सल्य है,
who performs devotional service,
भजन नहीं
he
करने
has
वाले अन्य
affection
श्याम
for them,
अन्य लोगों के
but for
लिए
others,
उग्र विग्रह,
he is violent or
भयंकर।
ferocious.
हमारे धर्म शास्त्र में
So, according to our religious scriptures, this
निरूपण किया गया है।
Vatsalta has been explained
श्रीमद् भागवत के सप्तम स्कंद के
in
नवम
Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th canto, 9th chapter,
श्लोकों में
the first 9 verses.
भक्त वत्सलता प्रस्तुत होती है।
This
आइए
Bhakta
कैसे
Vatsalta is presented. So, how is it
श्री
presented?
सुखदेव गोस्वामी वर्णन
Sri
करते हैं,
Shukdev Goswami
या
describes,
नारद मुनि महाराज
or Narad Muni
को उस राजसूय सभा में
tells this to Yudhishthir Maharaj in Rajsu Yajna assembly. So, Sri Narad Uvacha,
सुरादय सर्वे ब्रह्मा रुद्र पुरसरा नौपेतु मशकन्मन्यो नौपेतु मशकन्मन्यो सरम्भं सदुरासदं सरम्भं सदुरासदम। नारद जी कहते हैं कि युधिष्ठिर एवं इस प्रकार से सुर आदयः, सुर माने
Naraji says that in this manner, Sur Adaya, that is, the demigods, etc., as you have heard, Brahma, Rudra, Indra, Varun, Sun, Moon, Gandharva, Kinnaras, Vidyadharas. So all these people,
पुरहसरा, इन सब लोगों ने भगवान
so
को
all these people venerated the Lord, but no Petu, but he were unable to do so. What? They couldn't pacify him. Why?
एक आचार्य ने
Sudura Sadam. So one Acharya has written
जो स्तुति की वो भगवान को
that
सुनाई ही नहीं दिया।
the veneration that they did from far away place, the Lord was unable to listen to that. He was growling in such a manner, and these demigods were shivering and they were standing at a distance, and they just slowly venerated and went away. So he will be pacified or quelled only when he will listen or able to listen, but he is unable to listen. So in Bhagavad Gita, it is beautifully mentioned.
जिस भगवान को देखने के लिए हमारी आंख समर्थ नहीं है,
So the Lord who cannot be seen by our material eyes
जहां पर हमारी वाणी नहीं पहुंच सकती,
and where our speech cannot reach,
भगवान के पास क्या
So, can our eye reach the Lord? Is our speech capable that it can reach the Lord?
चक्षुर गच्छति न वाक गच्छति तेभ्यो प्रादुर्भाव तत् न व्यजानात। तो ऐसे अधोक्षज भगवान
So, such
के सामने प्रकट हुए हैं।
Lord appeared in the front of
नरसिंह देव को न समझ पाए न देख पाए
the demigods,
न तो भगवान
Adhokshaja, who is
उग्र क्रोध को शांत कर।
inconceivable, or the one who cannot
फिर क्या हुआ?
be seen by material eyes and senses.
दूसरे श्लोक में कहते हैं
So, in the second verse,
देवताओं से भगवान नरसिंह देव का क्रोध शांत
Shri
नहीं
Shukdev
हुआ। तब
Goswami says that they were unable to
श्री
appease the Lord. And what happened?
देवे दृष्ट्वा तं महदद्भुतम् अद्रष्टाश्रुतपूर्वत्वा सानो पेयाय शंकिता। देवे प्रेषिता,
Deve Preshita.
देवताओं से भगवान नरसिंह
So,
देव शांत नहीं हुए।
when they were,
तो देव
the demigods were unable to appease Lord Narsingadev,
मतलब देवताओं ने
Deve Preshita, so they
सोचा कि भाई
motivated.
ये हमसे शांत नहीं हो रहे हैं।
They thought that we are unable to
देवता लोग अपना अपना
pacify the Lord,
देने
so
लगे कि तो
they
फिर
started
भगवान
giving
को शांत
their
करने का
own
कोई
perspective
तरीका
that what is other way
मतलब
to
सारे देवता एक
appease the
साथ में
Lord.
बोले हाँ
So
एक ही उपाय
everybody
है, जब
thought
हम लोग
that
क्रोधित हो जाते हैं और
there is one way when we are upset, and
ठंडे हो जाते हैं।
but when our wife comes, we
तो एक काम करते हैं
become
इसकी पत्नी
grave
को लेकर आते हैं।
or pacified. So
लक्ष्मी जी वहां
let's
पर नहीं
call
थी।
his wife.
लक्ष्मी जी
So
तो
at that time,
वहां
Lakshmi ji
पर
was
नहीं थी
not there.
क्योंकि
She
नियम
was
के
in
कारण तो भाई
Vaikuntha
जब ये प्रभु
as
को
she
बुलाते हैं तो
constantly
उनको तो
massaged
करना
the
पड़ता है। तो
feet
लक्ष्मी जी
of the
अकेले
Lord.
लेकिन
So
यहाँ पर
Lakshmi ji
श्लोक
was
में
all
लिखा है
alone.
प्रेषिता देवे, देवताओं ने प्रेषिता माने प्रेरित
So
किया। कैसे
the
प्रेरित किया?
demigods
गए
motivated. So
ब्रह्मा जी,
Brahma
इंद्र
ji went,
देवता थे
and
जो
Indra, etc., the great demigods
और
went
वैकुंठ
to
में जाकर
Vaikuntha, the eternal abode of the Lord,
निवेदन किया
and started requesting goddess of fortune Lakshmi ji that
हम
we
सबसे
have
काम नहीं
some
बना और अब वो
work
काम
for you. We have tried
कौन कर
hard
सकता है।
and we have failed to do
लक्ष्मी
so,
जी ने कहा
but
ऐसा
you
नहीं
can
होता।
do that. So Lakshmi ji
आपके
said,
पति
that is
ने
that
एक दिव्य
work.
अवतार धारण किया है।
So they said that your husband has taken a
ऐसा
divine
अवतार
transcendental
कि इतना बड़ा है
incarnation, and
कि वो
it's
शांत
so
नहीं हो रहा है।
ferocious that we are
तो आप
unable
चलिए
to
हमारे साथ और हमारे
appease
गले में
him.
माला
So
पहना
you
दीजिए
come
या
with
ईश्वर की
us
आंखों बिना
and
देखती और चुपचाप नहीं हो जाते। हम्म।
pacify him, calm him down.
एक बार कहते थे मैं एक बार अमेरिका गया,
Guru Maharaj said that once I went
मुझे
to the
जयसुख
States,
भाई लेने के लिए आया। बोले आपको
and
कौन जयसुख होगा?
it was when Jesuk Bhai who came to
मुझे
pick me
लेने
up
के लिए आए, अपनी पत्नी के साथ आए।
with his wife,
तो फिर मुझे रिसीव किया, मेरी बैग
and they received
सब
me
रखा और
and they took my baggage, etc.
पत्नी ड्राइविंग कर रही थी और
The
मैं
wife
पीछे
was
बैठा हुआ
driving
था।
and husband was accompanying her.
बोले मैं पीछे बैठा था।
And he said that I was sitting
कोई चर्चा
behind.
चली,
So there was a discussion.
चर्चा तो मैं भूल गया, मुझे याद नहीं है,
So
लेकिन कोई
I don't
चर्चा
remember.
चली
So there
और
was
जयसुख प्रभु
some
ने जयसुख
discussion,
भाई
and
ने अपना
this
मंतव्य दिया।
Jesuk Bhai gave his
तो उनकी
perspective.
पत्नी ने उस पॉइंट को
Then
काट
his
दिया
wife just
कि ऐसा नहीं।
rejected
जयसुख भाई
this
चला
point of
कोई
view.
और बोला कि नहीं नहीं
And then he said
चंद्रमा
one
को
more
सही है।
time that
जयसुख
this is right. And she said, Jesuk, shut up.
सही हूँ।
I told you I'm right. Guru Maharaj
जयसुख
said,
तो वो बिल में जैसे चूहा घुस जाता है
Jesuk became
वैसे
so
घुस गया।
scared like a mouse.
लेकिन जयसुख एक शब्द नहीं
So
बोला।
for 90 minutes the car was moving, but
पत्नी
Jesuk
ने कह
didn't
दिया
utter a
तो
word.
बिल्कुल चुप
So
था।
he said, shut up. So he was completely mute. So this is how
वहाँ
it
इतिहास
happens.
में नहीं देखा गया
So we have
कि
seen
कभी
in the
किसी
pages
ने
of history,
दिखाया
emperor
धरती को जीत लेता है, सारे राजाओं को
is,
देता है,
wins over the whole world,
घर पर आता है
but when
प्रभु
he
को
comes to the home,
पत्नी के चरणों में रख देता है।
he puts his crown at the feet of his wife.
देवताओं ने कहा कि लक्ष्मी जी
So the demigods said that we need to
लक्ष्मी जी ने कहा उसमें क्या
appease
ऐसी बड़ी बात
your
है, चलो
husband. So Lakshmiji said, what is there?
तो अब देखिए
I
श्लोक
will
में हम
accompany
देख
you.
सकते हैं
So you can see in this
ये
verse,
सारी कथा जो है ना एक शब्द में बताई गई,
so this
साक्षात।
pastime is or
साक्षात
is
माने
mentioned in one word. Sakshat means
स्टोरी वाला कोई,
personally.
मतलब आचार्यों का तो इतना ही
So
होता है, तो साक्षात शब्द में पूरी स्टोरी हो जाती है।
in one
साक्षात
word,
शब्द से
the
क्या मतलब
scholars
कि
mention
लक्ष्मी जी उस
everything.
समय साक्षात नहीं थी,
So that implies that
सीता थी,
goddess of fortune
लेकिन
was
अब
not there,
प्रेरित किया
but
ब्रह्मा जी गए,
on motivation
लक्ष्मी
of
जी
the
को कौन
demigods
बुलाया,
and
साक्षात लक्ष्मी जी
counsel
को वहां पर
Lakshmi ji
लाया।
or goddess of fortune, and they brought her
तो
along
साक्षात
with them.
श्री प्रेषिता देवे, साक्षात लक्ष्मी जी देवताओं के कहने पर
On behest
दृष्टवा
of the
पूर्व
demigods,
अद्भुतम उस स्पॉट पर उस स्थान पर आ गई। आप लोग फोटो में देख सकते हैं,
she
लक्ष्मी जी
reached the
निकल कर
place.
आई।
So till yesterday she was not there. Today she is here.
तो लक्ष्मी जी आई
So Lakshmi
और बहुत
ji
बड़े उत्साह
arrived
से लेकर आई।
and she
और
was
दूसरी
very
लाइन में लिखा,
enthusiastic.
जब
But what
लक्ष्मी
is
जी
written in
भगवान
the second line?
नरसिंह देव के निकट गई
When she went
तो उसे
near
क्या
the
अनुभव हुआ,
Lord, what
अदृष्टवा,
was her
अरे बाप
experience?
रे,
Adrishtva.
मैंने ऐसा रूप तो जीवन में कभी
I
नहीं देखा।
haven't seen such
अदृष्टवा,
a form
और
in
फिर
my whole life.
अश्रुतम,
And
न
Ashrutam.
तो ऐसा रूप मैंने जीवन में कभी
Now,
देखा है,
never
और
have
न तो
seen
मैंने ऐसा
or
रूप कभी
never I
जीवन में
have
सुना है।
heard about
तो
such a form.
अदृष्टवा अश्रुतम पूर्व,
Adrishtva,
कभी
Ashrutva.
नहीं देखा,
That means I haven't seen or heard
उपाय
this
शंकितम।
earlier.
लक्ष्मी जी निकट गई और प्रभु के
And
यह
she went
रूप
near
देखा, डर गई
and
और
saw
क्रोधित
this
हुई वापस आई।
cruel form of the Lord,
तो
and she
पति तो मेरा
started
है,
shaking.
पहले
She
तो
said
मुझे
that,
डाउट हो रहा है कि ये अपना पति है कि नहीं,
I have a doubt this
क्योंकि
is
ऐसा
he
रूप
my
ऐसा
husband,
क्रोध मैंने आज तक
because
नहीं देखा।
I
लेकिन
haven't
मेरा
seen
पति
him
है,
in such
मैं
a
भी उनके पास जाने जैसा हूँ।
ferocious form. So this is not an appropriate time to go near
इसको
him.
बहुत सुंदर आचार्य टीका में लिखते हैं, तत्व
So
की
the
बात करते हैं, भगवान की
scholars
लीला की
or
बात करते
philosophers have
हैं।
written
तत्व की बात क्या
beautifully.
है, वंशीधर जी लिखते हैं, ध्यान
Vanshidharji
से सुनिएगा ये
describes
बहुत
in his
ठीक चीज है।
commentary. So please listen
यद्यपि
carefully because this is a very deep
नरसिंह रूपस्य
topic.
पूर्व कल्प श्रुतत्वे, अब यहाँ नीचे क्या कहा गया,
So
दूसरी लाइन
it is mentioned in the second line, Adrishtva
लक्ष्मी जी
Ashrutva.
कहती है कि ऐसा रूप
Lakshmi ji
तो
says
मैंने
that
पहले कभी
I
नहीं देखा,
haven't seen
न तो
or
मैंने पहले
heard
कभी सुना।
about such a form.
तो वंशीधर जी अपनी कलम
But
चलाते हैं,
Vanshudharji
लक्ष्मी जी
writes
ने
in his
नरसिंह देव
commentary,
भगवान के रूप को कभी नहीं
Lakshmi ji
देखा।
has not
केवल
seen
एक पक्ष मैंने कुछ
Narsingadev.
दिन पहले आपको कहा
So
था
as I
कि
have
भाई
mentioned
प्रहलाद की
2 days
रक्षा
prior,
करने के लिए
to
फर्स्ट टाइम
protect
वो
Prahlad
अवतार
ji,
हुआ,
this was the
तो
first
कहते हैं
time
एक
he
वर्ष
has
हो गया।
incarnated. So
लेकिन
this is one
वंशीधर जी अपना
perspective.
दूसरा
But
पक्ष रखते हैं
Vanshidharji presents his
कि
second view and he
नरसिंह
says,
रूपस्य पूर्व कल्प श्रुतत्वे, यद्यपि पूर्व कल्प में
although in the
नरसिंह अवतार हो
previous
चुका है,
kalpas, Narsingh Avatar has
श्रुतत्वे
already
नरसिंह अवतार
manifested,
की कथा भी बहुत बार हो चुकी है।
and the pastime also has
और
been
कहीं
described
कहीं
many
ऐसा
times.
लिखा
And
है
not only
कि
that,
सदैव दृष्टत्वश्च, और वैकुंठ में सदैव भगवान
in
नरसिंह देव
Vaikuntha,
रहते हैं।
Lord Narsingh Dev resides
ये नरसिंह स्वरूप जो है ना नित्य
perpetually.
है,
So this form of the Lord
नरसिंह
is
लोक जो है
eternal,
वो भी नित्य है,
and there is a
जैसे
Narsingh Lok
कृष्ण गौलोक
which is
में
also
रहते हैं,
eternal. As
राम
Krishna
साकेत में रहते हैं,
resides in
जैसे नरसिंह
Goloka,
स्वरूप
Ram
नित्य है
resides in
और
Saket.
नरसिंह स्वरूप वैकुंठ
Similarly,
धाम में
Narsingh
विराजते हैं।
Lord resides
तो
in
वंशीधर जी
Narsingh
कहती है कि
Lok.
नरसिंह का
So
अवतार पूर्व
Vanshidharji
कल्प में हो
says that
चुका, श्रुते
this
मैंने सुना,
time has already happened and it has
एवं
been
तिष्ठत
heard,
दृष्टत्व,
and he
और
is
वैकुंठ में
always
सदैव उसका
present in the
दर्शन
eternal
होता है।
abode of the Lord.
तथापि, क्या
Tathapi,
कहते हैं, तथापि
Tathapi, that means yet,
तदानीम, तदा इम
Tadanim
दृष्टाश्रुत पूर्वत्व
Drishtashrut
प्रतीति लीलाश्च
Purvatva
चैव
Priti
कारिता।
Lilascha Karita.
लेकिन फिर भी लक्ष्मी जी ऐसा सोच
They
रही है
still Lakshmi ji is
कि मैंने
thinking,
ऐसा रूप कभी न
I
देखा
haven't
न
seen
ही सुना
such
है।
form or
ठीक है,
heard about such form, and the
ऐसा
reason
रूप
being
देखा भी है, सुना भी
that
है,
she has
लेकिन
seen
भगवान
and
की
heard,
योग माया की ऐसी
but
शक्ति और
the
भगवान
by the potency of the external potency of the Lord, that they all have forgotten the form of the Lord and have forgotten about the pastimes of the Lord. So therefore they are thinking that they're seeing it for the first time. So why has Yogmaya deleted this pastime from the memory of all these people? Because the Lord is eternal and He resides there perpetually, constantly.
चौथी लाइन में कि लीला शक्ति एव कारिता
But
लीला
here
शक्ति
he writes in the fourth line, Leela Shakti is. So the Lord's
करा दिया, भुला दिया
external potency made Lakshmi ji forget this, and the reason being Adbhut Ras Swada Prapana Artham Iti. So that they can enjoy this amazing mood, this form was forgotten. So what does it implies? It is good to forget the pastimes of the Lord. If you remember, then you won't be able to enjoy that. But if we keep on forgetting, that we will have more enjoyment. Sometimes people get distressed that we are unable to remember. So till the point you don't remember, till that point you have bliss. So here in the last line it is said, Adbhut Rasa Swadan. If a pastime or the form is not remember and you're listening it for the first time, then you feel the mood of amazement. So I will say that the more we forget, the more we will be enjoying by reading, speaking, and listening. So here, the request, she requested, I haven't seen this form or heard about it, but she has forgotten. And there was one perspective that first time this pastime was not mentioned, and it happened. And what one pastime that happened, Lakshmi ji came that I will offer the garland to my Lord. And she was filled with enthusiasm and she came forward. And Lord Narsimha was angry and tearing away Hiranyakashipu. And he growled at the goddess of fortune. And she got scared and she started running away. Lakshmi ji was thinking, I just saved myself. So he was teaching the husband that throughout the year you might be scared of the wife, but sometimes you should growl as well.
अच्छा देखो यहाँ और एक प्रश्न आचार्यों ने इस पर
There is another question. The acharyas have contemplated on this in detail. So how a wife will get scared of her husband? This is beyond understanding or contemplation. Then a scholar has shared a pastime of Purana. And let me ensure that whatever I'm showing, this will not be easily available. This can be understandable by the commentary of great acharyas or scholars. So from Puranas, 3 verses were taken that this Lakshmi ji, or goddess of fortune, why she was scared of the Lord.
पत्यु समुत्पन्ना ये उन दिनों की बात है जिन दिनों समुद्र मंथन हुआ.
This happened during the days when the milk ocean was churned and Lakshmi ji manifested or appeared. So she appeared from the ocean and she went to the assembly where she was to pick her husband. So there was many demigods and sages and saints. The whole world was sitting there. So as you all are aware, it's mentioned in Bhagavatam, we have done the Katha on the same. Lakshmi ji is looking at someone, everyone, and she's looking at everyone's failures and shortcomings. Some people had lust. Someone has a beautiful form, but he doesn't have a great life ahead. So somebody have longevity, but their behavior is not good. So if someone has a good behavior and longevity, but they don't know how to dress, so Lakshmi ji is seeing shortcomings of failures in everyone. So in the second line,
फिर लक्ष्मी जी ने क्या किया?
then Lakshmi, what did Lakshmi ji say? Vishnu ji was sitting at the last, and she put the garland in his neck. Lakshmi Narayan got married, and they started residing in Shira Sagara or ocean. So she said that I want to be a chaste pious wife. So I just want to serve your lotus feet. So please allow me to do that. So it's mentioned Vishnu Vichare Tatparo Bhavan. The Lakshmi ji or goddess of fortune started residing in the eternal abode of the Lord and massaging his feet. Ekasmin divse, so she is massaging the feet of the Lord. And once upon a time, Ekasmin divse, while massaging the feet of the Lord, what did Lakshmi ji do? So when you tell someone to massage the feet, and if you don't tell them to stop, then the person will massage in a manner that they will tell you that you should not do it anymore. So Vishnu ji was massaged little harshly by a goddess of fortune. So Vishnu ji said that it's paining, so be careful. So Lakshmi ji said that I just want to add one thing here. In the second line, he says, he says, your body is so soft or tender that if I just massage a little, I don't even massage.
मुझे एक्यूपंक्चर से याद आ रहा है, मैं ये सपना शाह भी थी, लोखंड वाला में कथा करने गए.
So I'm remembering about acupressure. So there was a Katha, Agarwal family. So they put needles, acupuncture. So a expert of acupuncture came, and I cannot forget her face. So she was a relative of the organizer. So after the Katha, I was just having prasada, and the husband wife muttered that she is expert in acupuncture and she has rectified so much. So this is very good.
तो उसने कहा कि प्रभु आपको
he said that if you don't mind, shall I check? And she started checking. She said that your body is very hot and your heart is running very fast. And we have discussed the nursing manifestation, and she found a great problem in that your heartbeat is very fast. She said you should take a treatment immediately. So I was very patient, as I had already discussed nursing. She said that nothing much, so we will just do a little bit of acupuncture. I said, okay, guys. She bought so many needles, and both my hands she filled with the needles.
सो थोड़ा सा मतलब ऐसे टच
So
होता है तो यार कैसे लोग इसको झेल पाते हैं।
how people tolerate this, I don't understand.
प्रॉब्लम नहीं था लेकिन वो
I have no problem,
उसने
but
नया प्रॉब्लम खड़ा कर दिया।
she created a problem.
भगवान विष्णु इतने कोमल
So
इतने कोमल
Lord Vishnu is so soft and tender
विष्णु जी
that Lakshmi ji just massaged with a little force, and
लक्ष्मी जी कहती हैं
Vishnu ji was shocked.
प्रभु आपका शरीर इतना
And
कोमल है,
Goddess of Fortune says that your body is so tender. How do you fight?
हमारी जैसी पत्नियों के कोमल
If
हाथों से थोड़ा सा हमें दबाती
the wife's soft hands you are not able to tolerate
तो तुम्हें
and you
युद्ध कहीं नहीं
stood up, then how do you fight
मुझे तो
with
लगता
your
है
enemies? I think
मैं कोई इतना ये नहीं है।
I think that you don't have much of bravery. So what does Vishnuji says while he is laying there?
तो मैं बहुत ढीला हूँ,
He says that
मेरे पे भरोसा नहीं है,
you don't have faith in me that I can fight and win.
जैसे सेवा चल रही है
So
चलने दे,
let the service be the way you do. When the appropriate time will come, how
दर्शयिष्यामि सुव्रते।
hard I can be, you will see.
तब वो आचार्य गण कहते हैं
Then the Acharya says,
किया था लक्ष्मी जी
the Lord has promised to Goddess of Fortune, because Goddess of Fortune has seen the tender form of the Lord. But when the Lord took this Narsinga form
उग्र स्वरूप दिखाकर
and he showed his ferocious, cruel form, and he portrayed this is the violent form.
गुण है
So the Lord has a quality that
दो विरुद्ध धर्म होते हैं।
the Lord can have two contradictory things in his body. So in Bhagavad Gita also we see, he says that the Lord is smaller than an atom and he can be greater than the whole material world or universe. So he can be small and the greatest at the same time. So they have contradictory properties at the same time.
दूसरा विरुद्धार्थी गुण वो देना
So
चाहे तो अपना
the second contradiction is that if he wants to give, he will give everything, and if he wants to steal, then he will take everything. So in this similar manner, the Lord has this quality, Vajrat api kathorani. So the Lord is harder than the Vraja of Lord Indra, and at the same time, he can be even softer than the lotus petal. So the same Lord can be the most charitable and a thief at the same time. He could be the hardest and the softest at the same time. Therefore, the people of the world are different from the Lord. So we have heard about the pastimes of Ramji. I'm not sure whether you noted it down that when Ramji arrived at Janakpur and the spiritual master said that I want to serve the Lord. So you do one thing, you prick some flowers. So Ram and Lakshmanji went to the garden and takes the permission to enter and select the flowers. At the same time, a friend of Sita ji brings Sita. I have just seen a beautiful, a handsome man. I just want to show
सीता जी
to
राम
you
जी
as well. So when Sita ji sees Lord Ramji, how or what is the form of the Lord?
मोर पंख सिर सोहत नीके, मोर पंख सिर सोहत नीके, गुच्छ बीच बीच कुसुम कली के, बाल तिलक श्रम बिंदु सुहाए, ये भाल तिलक श्रम बिंदु सुहाए, श्रवण सुभग भूषण छवि छाए। सीता जी राम जी को कुछ इस प्रकार से देख रही है, ध्यान से देखिए।
Sita ji is looking at Lord Sri Ram in this, and we are discussing on the Lord can be harder than Braja and be tender than the lotus. So he is. So his length is quite long. So Ramji is wearing the peacock feather. Usually Ramji doesn't wears this. Usually Krishna wears this. Lakshmanji said that you don't wear this. But he said that today I am going to work like Krishna. It's not mentioned, so don't go and searching. But I thought that. So he wore this peacock feather on his head. So he is wearing this beautiful peacock feather, and he has flowers in his hair. And the main point is he is wearing the tilak on his forehead. But what was the work he was doing? He was selecting the flowers. And what was the weather? Chaitra. It was not summer. So it was like moderate weather in the month of April. And so as he was in a garden, so there was, and while selecting the flowers, he was sweating. Just imagine how tender he will be. And Sita ji is looking at this.
तिलक श्रम बिंदु, अपने राम जी के बाल पर श्रम बिंदु,
So she sees that Ramji has Shram Bindu, that is sweat, on his face. And on his ears were beautiful flowers. So Sita ji thinks when Ramji stood up to break the bow in the assembly of Janakji, so she was thinking that while plucking the flowers, he was sweating. So how is he going to lift this bow? Therefore, Sita ji started venerating Lord Ganesha that please reduce the weight. So Ganesh said that I am already mortified because of my weight. And how can I reduce? So this is not possible. So Sita ji was anxious. So the Lord's form is even softer and tender than the lotus, which can be portrayed from this verse. And the same Ram, the very next day, or rather the same day, in the morning, what she saw, Ramji was sweating while plucking the flowers. And after that they went to the assembly of Janakji, and all the kings tried, but they were unable to pick it up. Janakji was anxious and angry, and when Lakshmanji stood up, and then Ramji pacified him, and then Vishwamitraji told Lord Ram, now you should stand up and you should remove the distress of Janakji and break this bow. And now when Ramji stood up, so there he was sweating on plucking the flowers. And the same day, when he stood up to pick the bow, what does Goswami Tulsidas ji write?
सहज ही चले सकल जग स्वामी, मत मंजूबर कुंजर गामी। ठाड़े भये उठी सहज सुजाए, ठवनी जुबा मृगुराज लजाए। वहां फूल तोड़ते हुए पसीना, और
So
यहाँ
there he was sweating while plucking the flowers, and here
सकल जग स्वामी, और सकल जग स्वामी राम जी
the
सहजता से, कोई एक्टिंग नहीं है,
Supreme Personality of the Godhead,
जब चले तो
he
कैसे लग
is walking naturally.
कुंज बर कुंजर गामी,
And how does he looks
जैसे
when he
मद मस्त
walks?
हाथी चलता है,
As if a
उसी प्रकार
mad elephant walks. Similarly,
चलने लगे।
Lord Ram is walking towards this bow.
ठाड़े भये
And in the second line,
गुरु जी ने कहा कि राम तुम खड़े हो जाओ,
then the Guruji told him that you should stood up. And when he stood up,
जुबा मृगुराज लजाए, राम जी उस प्रकार से खड़े हुए
he stood up in such a manner
कि खड़े होने को
that
देखकर
by seeing
सिंह
the
को भी लज्जा आ जाए।
style in which he stood up, even the lion will feel ashamed of himself.
तो मृगराज लजाए, सिंह भी लज्जित हो गए राम जी को खड़े हुए देखकर। तो सुबह बगीचे में फूल को
So
तोड़ने से
in the morning, while plucking the flower, he was sweating, and now
हुए देखकर सिंह को पसीना आ गया,
when Ramji stood up, even the elephant and lion
झटके में वो धरती पर
were
गिर दिया।
sweating or were ashamed. So, and he broke the bow in a moment. So it implies that the Lord can be harder than Vajra, and he can be as tender as a lotus flower. So that is the form of the Lord. So we have seen for the devotee, Lord is soft and tender, but for non-devotees or evildoers, he is as stronger as Vajra. So
लक्ष्मी जी सबके लाइन में
he growled at Lakshmiji, and Lakshmiji just ran away and stood there at a distance. And then Brahmaji came near Prahladji, and it is said,
प्रेषयामास ब्रह्मावस्थितमन्तिके, तात प्रशमयोपेहि स्वपित्रे कुपितं प्रभुम। प्रहलादम प्रेषयामास, प्रहलाद महाराज को भेजा। किसने
so
भेजा?
Prahlad Maharaj was sent. Who sent him? Brahma Avastita Antike. So the leader of everyone was Brahmaji at that time. So he was managing everything. So he saw that even the wife of the Lord has failed. So he sends Prahlad Maharaj, for whom the Lord has taken such ferocious form,
तुम शांत करो
and says that you pacify or appease the Lord. Because of your father, the Lord has become so violent and angry, so you go and pacify him. So we will just keep it here. So let's discuss about the point yesterday, that why is the Lord angry when we can get our work done in peace? Then why he need to be angry? So Srila Prabhupada said that the Lord and a devotee of the Lord has anger. Sometimes people say that you are a devotee and you are angry. We don't eat stone. We also get angry.
भक्त कभी होता है, लेकिन प्रभुपाद कहते हैं
But Prabhupada mentions that the
क्रोध का इस्तेमाल
Lord and the devotee of the Lord
करना ये जानते हैं।
knows or well aware of where and how to use his anger.
मोह मद मात्सर्य ये
Therefore,
पता नहीं है।
all these greed, lust, attachment, etc. are not obstacles for a
सपोर्ट करता है।
devotee, but if you know how to
बहुत बड़ी चीज है।
use it or deviate it in devotional service, then it can support you in the unalloyed devotional service of the Lord. So Prabhupada ji has just written that much because he didn't have that much time. And I was thinking that the anger can be used and even lust and greed can be used.
तो फिर मैं खोजा कि ये इस्तेमाल
Then I was looking how can we use it, and while searching this I got the answer from LalGovindDas Thakur. In Shri Prem Bhakti Chandrika, LalGovindDas Thakur has written a powerful scripture. We sing 4 verses from that, which we address as Guru Puja.
राणा पद्मा केवल भक्ति सदमा वंदो मोई सावधान मते वंदो मोई सावधान मते जहार प्रसादे भाई ए भव तोरिया जाय जहार प्रसादे भाई ए भव तोरिया जाय कृष्ण प्राप्ति हो यो जहाँ हईते कृष्ण प्राप्ति हो यो जहाँ हईते गुरुमुख पद्म वाक्य चित्ते कोरिया एक्य आरना करी हमने आशा आरना करी हमने आशा। सो इस प्रकार ये जो हम गाते हैं ना रोज,
So what we sing every day, so this is from the scripture Prem Bhakti Chandrika. So these 4 verses
तो हम
were used for the invocation prayer. So these are the invocation prayer. And Srila Prabhupada took the first 4 verses and presented as Guru Puja.
ये प्रेम भक्ति
Actually, this is the invocation prayer in the scripture of Narottam. So the invocation prayer is so powerful. Imagine how powerful the scripture will be. So these 4 verses that we sing, so there are thousands of verses that Narottam Das Thakur has written. And he has shared great philosophical points. And there he said that all these qualities like lust, greed, attachment, ego, etc., we cannot destroy them from the root. As you have heard yesterday, that we need to deviate them rather than trying to destroy them. And if we put them to work and we know how to use them, they can be a great support or pillar of support for our Anala devotional service. So yesterday I promised that today I will share with you how and where we can use these for devotional service.
नोट करके रख लीजिएगा,
So you should
बहुत
jot it down.
आपको ये सब जानने को मिलेगा.
You will rarely get a chance to know this.
करना चाहिए, क्रोध
So where can we use
चाहिए, लोभ कहाँ पर, मोह
the
कहाँ
greed,
पर, मद
lust,
कहाँ पर. श्री
and
नरोत्तम दास
ego?
ठाकुर कहते
So
हैं,
Narottam Das Thakur writes,
कृष्ण सेवा कामार्पणे क्रोधवक्त द्वेषी जने लोभ साधु संगे हरि कथा मोह इष्ट लाभ बिने मद कृष्ण गुण गाने मोह इष्ट लाभ बिने मद कृष्ण गुण गाने नियुक्त करीबो यथा तथा. अब नरोत्तम दास ठाकुर कहते हैं,
Narottam Das Thakur says that all these shortcomings, if we use them at appropriate place, then these shortcomings will become an ornament and they will be a pillar of support.
तो वन बाय
So let's discuss one by one.
सबसे पहले क्या कहा,
First and foremost, he says,
सेवा कामा,
Krishna Seva Kamarpane.
हमारे अंदर काम, आप
So,
तो निष्काम हो ना,
so you all are desireless.
एवरीबॉडी निष्काम, अकाम, मुक्त काम. ये मेरे जैसे कामियों की बात हो रही है.
So I'm talking about
अंदर काम है, तो है यार, उसमें
blissful people like me. So,
तो अभी हमें काम का क्या करना है, देखिए.
so what shall we do? How should we channelize it?
काम को
So he says,
देना चाहिए
Kam Arpane,
कृष्ण
where?
सेवा में.
In Krishna's Seva.
काम को खत्म नहीं करना है,
So we are not there to
नष्ट नहीं करना है.
destroy the desire,
कामना को कृष्ण सेवा
but
में अर्पण कर देना है.
this desire should be offered or surrendered to the Lord.
तो समझना पड़ेगा ना, ये
So
तो
we
आप
need to understand this in detail. So this is one
को कृष्ण सेवा में
principle.
लगाना है. But how? कैसे?
But how are we going to do that?
अभी फिलहाल क्या है,
So right now,
नरोत्तम ठाकुर ने क्या कहा, काम
what does Narottam Das Thakur says that we should use our desire in the service of the Lord.
हमारी जो कामना है वो हमारी सेवा में लगी हुई है.
So right now our desires are
हम लोग
to
हमारी सेवा में लगे हैं.
serve
तो
us.
काम को सेवा सेवा तो हो ही रही है, काम भी
So
है और सेवा भी हो ही रही है.
we have the desire and the service is also being done. But
सेवा न करके
instead of serving ourselves, we should deviate it to the service of the Lord.
भड़कता हुआ भयंकर काम हो,
Even if you have the greatest desire, the more desire you have, the more it will be beneficial.
सेवा में काम
But instead of using it for our own ulterior motivation and self gratification, we should use it in the service of the Lord. Why?
अपने लिए किया हुआ काम
The work that we do for ourselves is sinful, but the same work,
काम कृष्णेंद्रिय प्रीतिवांछा
if we do it
प्रेम हो जाएगा.
for the
ये लोग थर्ड क्लास कहते हैं,
so the calm that is
ज्ञानी तो गाली ही देते हैं.
degraded and is always abused by the empiric philosophers and the yogis.
कृष्णेंद्रिय
But the
प्रीतिवांछा
same desire,
दुनिया की सबसे बड़ी चीज हो
when channelized, becomes the greatest of all.
ज्यादा मेहनत नहीं करनी है.
So we need not to work too hard.
होता है ना,
A batsman
बैट्समैन होता है,
who is intelligent,
नहीं लगाता,
he doesn't use much of force. And no matter how fast the ball is approaching, he just gives a little direction and the ball goes out of the boundary. So this is the sign of intelligence. So we should become desireless, we should work hard for. So we need not to do that. Because if we have that, but instead of satisfying our desires, we should channelize it to fulfill the desires to make Krishna happy and satisfied. And it will be transformed into the love of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which is the fifth or the final goal of a living entity. So let me add one technical point here. So this Kam is a Sanskrit word and Prem also is a Sanskrit word. So as you all are aware after listening to the past time that the words of Sanskrit are created by a base word. So this bhajan bhakti, which is from the word bhaj and bhaj sevayam, mangla charan. So it is from mangi. So Sanskrit Vyakaran works like this. So the Kam word is made from which base word? So it has been made with the base word Kam, and Prem is from the base word Pri. So the base word for Kam is Kam. So here Kam implies desire, and Bhakti is by Bhaj, and it is implied for servicing.
मंगी यात्रा के अर्थ में है. काम शब्द कम धातु से बना है और कम धातु
so on and so forth.
और प्रेम शब्द प्री धातु से
So this word prem is from Pridha, a base word, and it also implies ichha. So do you understand?
तो जिस
Kam is kam. So the base word implies desire, and even the word prem also implies
प्रेम. ये दोनों एक ही धातु से बने हुए शब्द हैं.
So that means that kam and prem are of the same base element or imply the same meaning. So kam and prem, there is no difference. The root is same. Even in kam and prem, they both have desire. But there is a difference in the goal of both. So in kam, the desire is to make ourselves satisfied and happy. But in love, it is the desire to make the Lord happy and satisfied. So what we are supposed to do? So the calm, we have the desire to satisfy ourselves, so we should transform it into the desire to satisfy the Lord, and your calm will turn or transform into prem. This is what we are supposed to do. This is what Narsimha Thakur has taught or explained. So if we have such desire towards the Lord, then our heart will be as pure as Mother Ganga. As there are stairs, so if there is a 25-story building and there is no lift, so without lift, they will have staircases, and by which you go up the same staircase, you come down. So from where did we fall down? We fell down because of our desire, because we all appeared from the Lord. We are all the part and parcel of the Lord. So we came from upper planetary system to down because of our desire. So the staircase by which we came down, by the same staircase we can go up as well. When we come down from the stairs, or when we try to use the stairs to go up as well, so only the goal is different. While we come down, we are going downwards, but when we are going upwards, then we are going up. So the staircase remains the same. So if we fall down and we got entangled in this distress because we have this desire,
काम को मतलब निजेंद्रिय हम हमारा उद्देश्य
that
अपने आप
is, our goal is to satisfy ourselves.
करने का उद्देश्य रखो
So we should keep the goal or desire to keep happy, but we should make it the desire to satisfy or make Lord happy. And with this staircase, we can go up. And Krishna writes in or recites in Bhagavad Gita beautifully. He says, the work that you do for me or desire that you have for me, O Arjuna, desire is not something bad, but first what you should understand, that is mad arthe, that is for me.
भगवान को सुखी होने के लिए कामना रखेंगे कृष्ण को
So
सुखी
if we have desire to satisfy the Lord and happy, then will not the Lord make us or keep us happy and satisfied? Is he mad? Does he requires anything from us? But the goal should be this. And we should not have the ulterior motive that he should satisfy us or make us happy, but our goal should be just to satisfy and make him happy. And then it will transform into love or pure love. Lord Krishna himself tells Naraji, he says, Mat kamaha.
सभी प्रकार की कामनाओं का
All types of desires can be destroyed or absolved when that desire will be for me. And if you have the desire to make me satisfied, then it will not be referred to as calm anymore, but it will be addressed as prema. So Narottam Thakur says,
कृष्ण सेवा काम अर्पण है हमारे जीवन में जो काम है
so the desire or lust we have, we should offer it to the Lord. So now the topic of Narsimha is come. So where can we use the anger? So why are you trying to control your anger? You bring the anger from your office and then you sit at your home. So even the anger can be used or channelized. So how can we use it? Narottam Das Thakur says, as the desire should be directly used in the service of the Lord. But the anger cannot be directly used, but we can use it indirectly in the service of the Lord. How? Bhakta Dveshi Jane. So we become angry on people who have jealousy or envy towards us. So a person who is envious of us, we should thank them. But if there is a senior devotee or a sage or a saint, and somebody becomes envious of them, then whatever anger we have, we should use it, because that will become an ornament of our anala devotion service. Narottam Das Thakur writes further, let me give you an example, that if there is a devotee who is an pure, exalted devotee, and in the society and the world, someone is bad mouthing about him. And if we have anger,
क्रोध वाली
so
जो यहाँ
if we
वहाँ
have that anger, which we use here and there unnecessarily, so where a devotee is being distressed,
वहाँ अपना सारा क्रोध
you should use your anger there. Narsimha Thakur writes,
से आपकी भक्ति की पुष्टि होगी, आपकी
if you use your anger at that place, then your devotional service will get strengthened. So
जो किसी दूसरे भक्तों को परेशान करता है,
the anger should be channelized or used at people who are distressing other devotees. If someone is distressing you, then we should remain humble and we will tolerate everything. But
किसी भक्त के ऊपर किसी
if
ने उंगली उठाई,
someone points a finger at
नरसिंहदेव यहाँ बन जाए,
all the then the others think they will appear here.
तो क्रोध भी
So the anger too can become pure devotional service towards the Lord, and it will nourish if we know how to use it appropriately.
श्रीमद् भागवत में दो दो तीन
In
तीन
Srimad Bhagavat, there are 2-3 examples. How much can I show you? So these are the words of Mother Sati.
अपराध किया,
When the Vaishnava like Shiva was offended at that time in the assembly of Prajapati, Daksh Sati recites,
कर्णोऽपिधाय निरया द्यकल्पयिषे धर्मा वितर्य शुणिभिः नृभिरस्य माने छिन्दात् प्रहस्य रुशति मसति प्रमुश्चे जिह्वामसूनपि ततो विसृजेत् सधर्मः। सती कहती है वहां पर,
Mother Sati tells in the assembly of Daksh Prajapati, when Daksh Prajapati offended Lord Shiva, and who is Shiva? Who is the crest jewel of all the Vaishnavas. There is no doubt that he is the best Vaishnava. And when he was offended, and when Sati ji saw this,
तो सती माता क्या कहती है?
so what does she says?
कर्णोपिधाय माने
Karanopidhaya means wherever a Vaishnava is being offended, first and foremost, if it's possible for you, then you should take out his tongue. This is what Mother Sati has said in Bhagavatam. So if we have anger and we use it unnecessarily here and there, where we don't even need to be angry, you should use this anger. That in Bhagavatam it is mentioned that you should use anger, but where Sati says, wherever there is a Vaishnava being offended, and you see that some sage is being disrespected or dishonored, then you should take out his tongue. So this is about the Sati Yuga. Kali Yuga, we cannot do that. So then Sati tells about the second step that we can take, and she says that if someone is doing this, then you should scold them. And if you're not able to do that as well, Karanopidhai, then you should close your ears and you should leave the place. But if a Vaishnava is being criticized and we listen, it's better to just take out his tongue and go to jail. Or otherwise, you should just close your ears and leave. So this is how we can, or we should use or channelize our anger. So the anger can be utilized against people who are offending the pure devotees of the Lord.
राम जी चित्रकूट में थे, राइट?
when Ramji was in Chitrakoot and Ramji and Lakshmanji were standing and a great sound was coming,
वहां पर ये
and there Ramji kept his ear on the ground that who is here. And then he realized that Bharatji is here with his army. So he is coming with so much army. Lakshmana thought that he is here to fight. So he there,
है ना, ये निषाद राज और ये वो सब, और
all
लक्ष्मण भी
the tribesmen and Lakshmana. So there is a chupai.
पुनी सूर सरितीरा समर मरन पुनि सूर सरितीरा राम काज क्षणभंगु शरीरा राम काज क्षणभंगु शरीरा। तो वहां पर लक्ष्मण और निषाद राजा जितने भी कोल आदिवासी भील थे,
So all the tribesmen came there with the weapon that someone is coming to fight with Lord Sri Ram. So although we don't know how to fight as we live in forest, but whatever anger we have, we will use it. This is how to use the anger. This is the time when we should use it. I love this verse. And they say that when we will fight and use our anger, what more can happen? We will just die. And how much we will be benefited? We will die on the banks of Gangaji, and we will die for Lord Ram, and we will be remembered in the pages of history. So the anger done for a person for a great personality, it will be mentioned in history. So Narsimha Dev has been described for 1,000 times. So for whom he became angry, that is more important. For anger, which is for us or for our happiness, is to be condemned. But the anger done for a devotee or the Lord is to be praised or prayed. And today the Lord has become angry for his devotee. So our anger is small, but Lord has more anger, and that is why he looks or appears as so ferocious. So is not Hanumanji an exalted devotee of the Lord? So you say that you're a devotee and you still become angry. So Hanumanji is a devotee. He also became angry. You abducted our mother, and Hanumanji had this anger and he used it in Lanka and burned the whole Lanka. Even Hanumanji has utilized the anger, but for whom did he use it to for or in the service of Mother Sita? So the anger can become an ornament of unalloyed devotion service. So we listen to the pastimes of Lakshmana and his anger, but did he become angry for himself? Never. It was always for Lord Sri Ram. So the anger is not bad.
બદનામ કર્યા તમે બધાએ. મારે તો ભેગો થયો છે કેટલાય દિવસથી. કોક અપરાધ કરો તો ખબર પડે. તમને તો ચાન્સ મળ્યો તો પણ તમે કઈ કર્યું નહીં.
You got a chance, but you never used it. I gave you a chance to bat. But this anger should be utilized to protect devotees.
So सती माता ने कहा
So Mother Sati says that the anger and Hanumanji used it to destroy Lanka, and Narsimha Dev has used his anger to protect Prahlad Maharaj. Lakshmanji used his anger for Lord Sri Ram. So anger should be used against the people who are envious of the Lord and the devotee of the Lord.
तो आपके अंदर है नहीं तो वो कैंसिल
So you don't have greed.
लोभ लोभ तो कहाँ है आप लोग तो बरसाते रहते
So let's cancel it.
आपका हाथ तो जेब में ही होता है कब निकाल कर चेक फाड़ू
Your hand is always in the pocket that when can I tear a check and give it?
मेरे जैसे कुछ लोभी तो होते
But there are some people who are greedy like me.
आप सब तो उदार है उदार
You all are benevolent, magnanimous.
लेकिन लोभ यदि लोभ हो
But if a person has greed, then although greed is considered to be a shortcoming, but it can become an ornament of devotional service. So where shall it be used? Lobha sadhu sange hari katha. So you should be greedy, but in what? To have association of devotees and to listen the pastimes of the Lord. So you all are greedy. So you can see the names of all the greedy people. So this greed should be used in getting association of the devotees and listening to the pastimes of the Katha. I have done this a lot. So whenever Guru Maharaj used to do the pastime, so I used to come late, but I always had this greed and I used to sit in front. So we should have this greed to have association of a pure devotee and to listen to the pastimes of the Lord. So just understand the mood of Narottam Das Thakur. So we should have greed, but where? So in association of devotee. So people say that everything is mentioned in Bhagavatam. Why do we need to associate? If you just Google it, then you will find everything. But you should understand the mood of Narottam Das Thakur. He says we should have greed in sadhu sangha, whether we have scriptures or we have a book, etc. But we will get benefit ultimately only by associating with great devotees. When you meet great devotees, you see them and they see you. So the mercy flows through their eyes. So physically, we get vibrations from them and we get mercy from their eyes. So all those whose videos are closed, they are not worthy of mercy. So they will become philosophers and they will preach others, but they will be devoid of the mercy. If you want mercy, then you should have association face to face. So all those who sit in Amrit Charsha, I consider it as physical face to face. And what is the proof? In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is mentioned. Naradji tells Prachin Brahmi, the from the mouth of the sages, the nectar flows, and the one who sits next to them, he gets drenched by the same. But others keep on listening, but they don't get drenched. So through the ears, by listening to the nectar, we should do that. That is why he says that Lobha Sadhu Sangha Hari Katha. People just want to close it because they have so much work at home. But gradually they understand we should be greedy in what? To have association and listen to the Hari Katha. Because that greed will make us attain another devotion service towards the Lord, which is the greatest wealth of all. And do understand one thing, nobody likes a person who is greedy. He is criticized everywhere. But if you use that greed for associating with devotees or to listen to the pastimes of the Lord, then he becomes bedecked. So the one who logs in the first time, first, then he becomes, he gets more glory. And of- if the office time is at 10 o'clock and you reach at 9 o'clock, then they will say that you're greedy. So if you are greedy in material things, then it will bring infamy. But if it's channelized to for spiritual work, then it will become a glory. And we sing the glories of Prithu Maharaj. Lord Vishnu appeared in front of Prithu and he said that you can ask any benediction, and Prithu says, I don't want anything. The flow of the nectar of your pastimes, except that I don't want anything. And if you really want to give me something, then I want to listen to the Katha flowing from the mouths of great devotees. So these 2 years are not sufficient for the same. So I want 1,000 years. So as people of the world has agreed that we have this much money, so let please multiply it. So what was his greed? That these 2 years are insufficient to listen to your pastime, so give me 10,000 years. So he used his shortcoming and made it his ornament. And then the moh, that is attachment, that can also be used in the service of the Lord. So this attachment should be attached to attain the Lord. And how are we going to do the same? By listening to the pastimes of the Lord and by performing congregational chanting. And sometimes we have so much bliss in patience. So, so it is just attachment. So Madhusudan Prabhu tried for 3 years. He can listen the next day, but how much attachment he has. Some people say that, what does he make you drink? I haven't given anything. But you all are attached. And so attachment is there in the life. But we listen to the pastimes of the Lord, then that attachment will help us in attaining the Lord. So now we have attachment towards the pastime of the Lord. So now the mind is set. So that is attachment. So, and the fifth is mad. So mad means pride. So this pride also can be used. Don't worry. Sometimes people say that he is very proud. He is very prideful.
उसे भगवत सेवा में लगा पाएंगे, जिसका है ही नहीं।
So if we have this
तो नरोत्तम दास ठाकुर कहते हैं
pride, then only we can channelize it. If we don't have, then how will we use it? So how can we use it? Krishna Gun Gane,
गुणगान करने में,
while singing the glories of the Lord. How?
अभी हमको हमारा गुणगान करना बहुत अच्छा लगता
So
है ना।
right now we like to praise ourselves.
भाई मैं बहुत
How?
अच्छा आदमी हूँ,
I am a great person.
और फिर मेरे बच्चे
And
बहुत
then
अच्छे हैं, मेरी
my
पत्नी
kids
बहुत-
are very good.
अपना और अपनों का गुणगान,
So
ये
we
दो
just
चीज हम लोग
praise
बड़े एक्सप्रेस
ourselves
मानते
and
हैं,
our
हमको अच्छा लगता है, क्योंकि अभिमान है।
all those who belong to us. So because we have pride, so if we just
जैसे
add
इस
one thing,
शरीर को आप अपना मानते
as
हैं ना,
we consider this
ऐसे
body as
प्रशंसा करना
our,
बहुत अच्छा है।
and we praise it
जैसे
that we are so
बच्चों
good,
को अपना मानते हो, तो
and
ऐसे
as we
ही
consider our children and wife to be ours, and we praise them as well.
कृष्ण को भी
So
अपना
if
मान
we
लो,
add Krishna in that list and say that Krishna is ours, and then we take pride in that.
कुछ अच्छा करते
If
हो
you have a,
लगता है,
if we do
मेरे
something,
बेटे ने ये
so
कर
we
दिया,
become
मेरे
so
बेटे ने
proud,
वो कर दिया, वो गाते फिरते हैं, बस जाते
and we
फिरते हैं।
sing the glory of our
कृष्ण
son.
को भी अपना
So
बेटा मान लो, अपना
we
मित्र
should
मान लो,
consider Krishna as our son,
और फिर
friend,
करते
or
रहो,
beloved, and then we
हवा
can keep
करते
on praising
हैं, जितना
him.
मतलब मार्केट में जितना बताने बताते रहो, मेरी तरह आप भी शुरू कर दो।
So you also can start like
घणी
me.
बार अमुक लोगों कहता है તમારું બહુ
Sometimes
સારું
people
ચાલે
say
છે,
that
તું આવી જા ને,
आपका बहुत अच्छा चल रहा है. It's
તમારું બહુ
doing,
સારું
you're
ચાલે
doing
છે।
good. So you also come and join.
तो आपका भी अच्छा चलेगा।
You can also
तो
do the same,
तो हम लोग हमारे
and it
गुणगान
will work
करने
good.
में अगाते नहीं
So
है, अगाते नहीं है।
we don't
हम
get tired of
अपनों के
praising
गुणगान
ourselves,
करने में अगाते
and
नहीं है।
we don't get tired while
कृष्ण को भी
praising
अपना मान लो ना, तो
people who are
उनका भी गुणगान
ours.
करने में आप थको
And
नहीं।
when we
एक बार
think
अपना
that
मान लो बस,
Krishna
फिर
is
कहोगे
ours,
मेरा
and
कृष्ण तो ऐसा
we
है,
will never
मेरा
get
कृष्ण तो
tired
ये
of
है,
praising him,
मेरा कृष्ण तो ये करता है, मेरा ये करता है, आपका अभिमान
and your pride
करा देगा।
will
ईश्वर प्राप्त
let you attain the Lord.
और अभिमान में आनंद होता
It
है
will
ना भाई,
enable
आनंद
us
आता
to
है।
attain the Lord. So this pride also
हमारे
has
बच्चों
bliss.
की प्रशंसा करने में कितना आनंद है।
How much we feel satisfied while
देखो
praising
गजेंद्र ने कितना
ourselves and our family. How beautifully Gajendra has said,
कंचनार्थम वांछन्ति ये वे भगवत प्रपन्ना अति अद्भुत तच्चरितम सुमंगलम। जो एकांतिक भक्त होते हैं वो
so
अपना मानते हैं,
the
क्योंकि आप उसके अपने हो, तो अपनों की तो सब प्रशंसा करता है।
Ekanti devotee, or who are totally surrendered to you, they just consider you to be theirs, and while singing the glories,
समुद्र मगना,
and when they sing your glories, then
आनंद रूपी
they
समुद्र में वो डुबकी मारते हैं,
drown
और
in
आनंद
the
में जाते हैं।
ocean of ecstasy and
इस
bliss.
प्रकार से श्री नरोत्तम दास ठाकुर ने
So in this manner,
अभिमान
Sri
को भी कृष्ण सेवा में
Narottam Das Thakur says that
दिया।
the pride can also be used in service of the Lord.
तो मेरे जैसे ने पकड़ा होगा, रुको रुको रुको,
So
ये एक
somebody might
रह
have,
गया।
the one thing is still remaining. What is
पहले
that?
आपने कहा काम,
First you said calm, that is desire. Then you said krodh, that is anger. Then you said greed.
फिर आपने कहा मोह,
Then you said moh, that is attachment.
फिर आपने कहा मद, तो कृष्ण गुणगान।
Now you said pride.
मात्सर्य कहाँ
So
गया?
what about
तो कहते हैं ये
matsarya
सब लाइन में
or
नहीं था ना,
envy?
काम क्रोध
So for us,
मद,
all of these are in line.
नरोत्तम दास ठाकुर भाग रहे थे,
Narottam Das Thakur was leaving,
पकड़ा, बोला मात्सर्य
but
कहाँ गया?
somebody stopped him.
आपने कहा
What about matsarya or envy? He said there is a way for everything, but there is no way that we can use envy
ये सबको
in service
भगवत
of the
सेवा
Lord.
में लगाया जा सकता
So
है।
all these
क्रोध को
can be
सेवा में,
used
क्रोध को भी
in
सेवा में,
service of the Lord,
मोह और मद
but
अभिमान को भी
envy
सेवा में,
cannot be
लेकिन
used
मात्सर्य को
in
कभी
service of the Lord.
नहीं लगा। मात्सर्य माने बिना वजह
Matsuri means
किसी को
and
परेशान
without
करने
any
का भाव,
reason to distress
इसे
others,
कहते हैं मात्सर्य।
and to have this desire
बिना
is
वजह न लेने
called
देने का,
envy
फलाना
or
तो ऐसा है,
matsarya.
फलानी तो ऐसी है, हमारा एक रुपये
So
का व्यवहार नहीं है,
we
एक
don't
सेकंड का
have
व्यवहार नहीं है, लेकिन फिर भी वो
any
ऐसे करते हैं,
relationship
वैसे
with them,
करते
but
वैसे,
still
ये
we keep
मात्सर्य,
on
इसका
criticizing them.
कोई
So this is
इलाज
envy,
नहीं है।
and it cannot be
इसका कोई
utilized
इलाज
anywhere. There is no solution for that.
मात्सर्य
Narottam
रहने दो भाई,
folded hand and said that you can leave this. I have just told them you this much, so you use this at least. In Srimad Bhagavatam's beginning, what is written? Nirmatsaranam satam. So this Bhagavatam is for non-envious people. A person who listens to Bhagavatam, if he has greed, desire, lust, attachment, or pride, then that can be used. But Matsarya or envy cannot be used. So if Narottam Das Thakur was said that you should tell something because we all are filled with this Matsarya or envy. But you all are pure. You're just here to check. I say we have more envy. So how are we going to deal with it? Then he, being merciful, he said that we cannot use it in the service of the Lord. We need to remove it completely. So to remove this envy, we have two things that we can do. First is by benevolence, and to have respect and love towards everyone, because in everyone's heart Krishna resides, and we should respect everyone with this, keeping this in mind, and we should keep on practicing this, and while doing this we will get relieved of the envy. But we need to remove this, but all other can be utilized in service of the Lord. And at last he says, Narottam Das Thakur says, I work so hard and I have gave you everything, making it very easy. But anyatha swatantra kama. And if you don't follow this and you want to be independent and keep desire for yourself, etc., then these all will create obstacles in your anala devotional service towards the Lord. So, the last question we have for him, we all want to do whatever he have taught us, but we want to utilize, but how can we make it easy? Then in the last line, Narottam Das Thakur says, he says, if we have association of devotees, then all this will become possible by the mercy of devotees. Just keep associating with devotee, the Lord, and never leave a devotee. A great sage or saint will make it possible for us. So when we have association of devotees, it will become possible. So Lord Narsimha Dev became angry, and we all have anger, but how to use it properly, that it becomes not an obstacle but a pillar of support in our anala devotional service. So when we use our anger like Narsimha Dev for devotee, then it will become a help to attain the Lord. So you all have been listening with great patience. So I want to thank you all, and especially the Bharadwaj family. So 6 days have passed. So tomorrow is Narsingh Chaturdashi. There will be a special pastime, and if so, we are organizing this yagya or fire sacrifice. So you should take time so that all our obstacles should be removed, and all our well-wishers, and for them we should sit together and satisfy the Lord. So tomorrow this will happen. So I'm really grateful to the Bharadwaj family, Ramvati Taji, Rajesh ji, Sima ji, Nareshji. I am really thankful to all of you by your support. This beautiful katha has been and people are listening. So with Jai Kar, let's conclude the 6 days session.
श्रीमद् भागवतम महापुराण